Welcome back, everybody, to CallSpark Deep Dive, Episode 2, 10,000 Words and Phrases. And for those just joining us for the first time on Deep Dive, we basically take a whole bunch of sales stuff like books and courses and scripts, and we just kind of pull out the best parts, so you don't have to read it all.
Yeah, cut through all the noise and get straight to what really matters for your sales.
Exactly. And today we are diving deep into the psychology of language with this ebook, 10,000 Hypnotic Words and Phrases That Sell Like Crazy, by Larry Dodson. Now that title, I gotta admit, that's a pretty bold claim, but just skimming through it, some of these words and phrases he points out, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, the title definitely grabs your attention, but honestly, the words we use, they have so much power,
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to sales.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Some of these words that really stood out to me, like mind-blowing, escape-proof, even once in a lifetime. I mean, how often do you hear those in like a normal sales pitch?
And that's exactly why they can work so well. They hit on those basic psychological things, that make us tick. Like escape-proof, it makes you think, oh no, I'm going to miss out.
Yeah, like classic, you snooze, you lose.
Exactly. And once in a lifetime. Well, that plays right into our fear of missing out big time. I mean, nobody wants to live with regrets, right? So it creates that urgency.
And mind-blowing, that just makes you think, all right, this better be good.
But Dodson doesn't just throw words at you. He actually shows how to use them, like in real sales situations. Like, for instance, you could say, discover mind-blowing ways to increase your sales, or this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to escape-proof your financial future.
Whoa. Okay, those are powerful. He even has questions like, are you tired of feeling trapped in your dead-end job? Oof, that one hits a nerve. But some of the phrases he uses, I don't know, they're kind of provocative, He's got bait magnet, ditch your, fire your boss. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those. They're definitely attention-grabbing, but you got to know your audience. And think about your brand. Does Babe Magnet really fit with your company's values? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, you could really mess things up if you use those with the wrong people.
Yeah, authenticity is key here. You want to persuade people, sure, but you got to build that trust, too. You don't want to come across as, manipulative.
So even if we don't use these phrases directly, is there value in just knowing why they work?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about understanding what's going on in people's minds, Once you get those underlying triggers, you can adjust them to fit your own needs and craft much more effective messages.
Okay, so it's like having a cheat sheet for the human mind. Now, along with all these words and phrases, Dodson also includes 2 bonus sections, 500 sales-producing questions and sales-producing abbreviations. Have you had a chance to check those out?
I have, and they're really interesting additions. They really show how even small changes in how you say something can have a big impact on your sales.
So tell me a little more about these questions. What are they all about?
Well, the questions are designed to get your prospect thinking, They're not just yes or no questions. They're meant to spark curiosity and kind of lead the prospect down a path where your product or service is the answer.
So it's like planting a seed, right?
Exactly. You're guiding them towards a conclusion without being too pushy.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the abbreviations? I'm curious how those can actually boost sales.
Well, think about it. When you use abbreviations like MBA or ROI, you're subtly telling them, hey, I get you. I speak your language.
It's like a secret handshake for the business world, right?
Yes, precisely. And that can really make you seem more credible and authoritative.
So it sounds like these bonus sections really complement the main list of words and phrases.
They do. They take persuasive language to a whole new level by showing you how to tailor your message to specific goals and situations. Yeah, it's like you instantly get them even before you start talking about what you're selling.
It's a shortcut to building that connection, right?
Exactly. And speaking of connection, Dodson talks a lot about how important it is to build relationships with customers. He says you can't really start selling until you've got that genuine connection.
Yeah, it makes sense. People buy from people they like and trust.
Right, and he suggests things like using humor and telling stories, asking thoughtful questions, to make things more personal and engaging.
So going beyond just the transaction and making it more human.
Exactly. And once you've built that connection, then you can really start using positive language to get your message across. Dodson's a big believer in focusing on what people can achieve instead of dwelling on the negatives,
So instead of saying, don't miss out on this amazing opportunity, you could say, Imagine yourself experiencing the incredible benefits of this product.
Exactly. It's a small change, but it can make a big difference in how your message comes across. You're framing it in a way that's empowering and positive.
It's like you're inviting them into a world of possibilities rather than warning them about what they might lose.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of possibilities, let's go back to sensory language for a minute. We touched on it before, but I think it's worth digging a little deeper.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things that can be so powerful if you use it the right way.
Think about it. Which sounds better? This car is fast. Or feel the wind in your hair as you hug those curves, experiencing the raw power of this engine.
Okay, yeah, the second one definitely paints a much better picture. I can practically feel the adrenaline rush just hearing that.
Exactly. And that's the power of sensory language. You're not just telling them about the product, you're making them feel like they're actually experiencing it.
Dotson gives so many great examples of sensory language in the ebook. Words like velvety, smooth, sparkling, crackling, even whisper and roar. It's crazy how much those words can add to your descriptions.
It's about engaging all the senses, not just sight and sound, but also touch, taste, even smell. The more senses you can evoke, the more memorable your message will be.
Now, one thing that really caught my eye in the book was Dotson's section on hypnotic language patterns. It sounds a little bit like mind control, but I'm curious what you think about it.
It's definitely a more advanced technique, but it's not about manipulation. It's about understanding how language can subtly influence people's thoughts and actions.
Okay, so what are some examples of these hypnotic language patterns? How do they actually work?
Well, one example is embedded commands, which are like suggestions woven into a sentence, almost like subliminal messages.
Okay, I'm listening. Give me an example.
Instead of saying, buy our product now, you might say something like, imagine yourself enjoying the benefits of our product, feeling confident and successful.
Ah, I see. So you're not telling them to buy directly, but you're planting the idea in their mind.
Exactly. You're getting past their conscious resistance and speaking directly to their subconscious desires.
Whoa, that's pretty powerful stuff. Are there any other hypnotic language patterns that Dotson talks about?
He also talks about presuppositions, which are statements that assume something is true, even if it hasn't been explicitly said.
Okay, I need an example for this one too.
For instance, instead of saying, if you're looking for a way to increase your sales, you might say, as you discover the many ways our product can help you increase your sales.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
So you're just assuming they already want to increase sales, which makes them more likely to believe what you're saying.
Precisely. You're framing the conversation and guiding them towards the outcome you want.
It's like you're setting them up to make a decision that's already been made for them.
Yeah, in a way. But again, it's important to use these techniques ethically. You want to be persuasive, but never mislead or manipulate your customers.
Right. It's about building trust and making sure everyone benefits. Now, one thing Dotson really emphasizes is using a variety of language in your sales copy. Why is that so important?
Well, have you ever listened to a presentation or read something where they just keep saying the same words over and over?
Yeah, it's so boring.
Exactly. It gets repetitive and people tune out.
So how do we avoid doing that?
Dotson suggests using synonyms, to keep your language fresh and interesting. Instead of saying amazing 5 times, try using words like incredible, fantastic, or extraordinary.
So basically expand your vocabulary and keep your audience engaged.
Exactly. It also shows that you have a good grasp of language, which can make you seem more credible.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, hey, I'm not just a salesperson, I know how to use words.
Exactly.
Now, we've talked about a lot of different strategies and techniques, but Dotson also talks about how important it is to test your copy to see what really works.
Yeah.
Why is that so crucial?
Because there's no magic formula for sales writing. What works for one thing might not work for another, and what works for one group of people might not work for another.
So you have to be flexible and adapt.
Exactly. You got to be willing to try different things and see what gets the best results.
Dotson even suggests A/B testing, where you create 2 versions of your copy and send them to different people to see which one performs better.
Yeah, that's a great way to see what's actually working based on data.
And it helps you keep improving your copy over time.
Exactly. It's a constant process of learning and adapting to how things change in the world of sales.
Now, I want to shift gears for a second and talk about something that's really important to both of us, the ethics of using persuasive language.
That's a crucial point for sure. We've talked about some really powerful techniques, but we have to remember to use them responsibly and ethically.
We're not advocating for tricking people into buying things they don't need. It's all about persuading with integrity.
Exactly. We want to help our listeners become better communicators, not master manipulators.
Well said. I think this is a good place to pause for a moment. We've covered a lot of ground, and it's good to let our listeners take it all in.
I agree. Let's wrap things up and share some final thoughts on how to put all this into practice.
All right. Welcome back to CallSpark Deep Dive. We've been talking all about Larry Dotson's ebook, 10,000 Hypnotic Words and Phrases That Sell Like Crazy. And I gotta say, it's given us a lot to think about when it comes to using the right words in sales.
Definitely. We've covered some powerful stuff, from sensory language and hypnotic patterns to tailoring your message and building those genuine connections.
But like we said before, it's super important to use these techniques the right way. We're not about tricking people into buying stuff they don't need. It's all about being persuasive while still being honest.
Exactly. We want to help our listeners become better communicators, not manipulative,
For sure. So to wrap up this deep dive, let's go over some key takeaways for everyone listening. First things first, words matter. They can influence, persuade, and ultimately make people take action.
And that's why you got to choose them carefully, especially when it comes to sales. It's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Dotson's book has a ton of great examples, but the best words and phrases are the ones that click with your specific audience.
So know your customer, what they want, what they need, what keeps them up at night. Then you can use language that speaks directly to them.
And don't be afraid to try new things. Test different words and phrases, see what works best.
Absolutely. Keep experimenting and see what gets the best response.
And never stop learning. There's always something new to discover about persuasive communication. So here's a thought for everyone listening. What are some of your go-to words or phrases in sales? And what makes them work so well? Let us know.
And if you're looking to boost your sales and reach more leads, check out CallSpark.
It's the future of sales calls powered by AI. Head over to callspark.ai to see it for yourself.
With CallSpark, you can book more meetings and close more deals, all thanks to the power of AI.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of sales language. Until next time, keep those conversations going, those sales rolling.
Absolutely.